Hello, this is GFID. I am going to do a quick run through of the Gravity Finance Silos V2 product that's launching on Sonic Chain. This is going to be a raw video. I'm not going to edit it. There is going to be some stumbling over words, I'm sure, but yeah, we're just going to get on with it. So first things to know is that you need to have a Silo Gas Manager. The Silo Gas Manager is responsible for topping up the gas on the individual silos that you own if they get low. So we're just going to deposit 5S into our manager here. You can't see my wallet, but I'm clicking on buttons on the right hand side here. So we now have a silo manager. It's advisable to have 5S in your silo manager for each silo that you deploy. So if you have 2 silos, have 10S in reserve. This acts as a reserve. You can withdraw this at any time by cancelling your silo manager. This really just, let's say, acts as a reserve for the individual silo. So if the silo gets low, it won't be able to operate because it has no gas in it. The silo manager is then responsible for making sure that it sends more S over to the silo to act as gas. So we're going to deploy a couple of silos here, a couple of different scenarios. So this is a borrow to farm silo. This allows us to deposit S token or wrapped S, which then goes into silo finance. We're going to borrow USDC. We're going to borrow 65% of the loan to value. So we're going to deposit 100 S, which is going to be worth I don't know what it's worth at the moment, $65 or something. We're going to then borrow 65% of that in USDC. We're then going to mint SCUSD on rings, and then we're going to take the SCUSD and we're going to deposit it into SwapX. I'm going to deploy this with all of the default settings. So we got borrow to farm is the name. We can change this at any time. The rebalance triggers, so if the loan to value goes up because the value of the collateral is changing, and we can automatically rebalance this. So the target is 65% of the value of the collateral, but if the value of the collateral goes up, the loan to value goes down because we haven't borrowed enough debt essentially. So if it drops below 45%, meaning we could borrow more, then the silo will automatically borrow more USDC and add it to our yielding position on SwapX. If the value of the collateral debt goes up to above 75, which would normally risk liquidation if you was doing this manually, in this event the silo will automatically remove some of the liquidity from SwapX and repay the debt to bring the loan back to healthy. And when it rebalances, when it goes to above 75 or below 45, it rebalances and it always targets 65% of whatever the collateral value is at that time that it's rebalancing. We're going to have the harvest schedule is going to just be kept on automatic, and that basically means that it will harvest the rewards when there are 20 SwapX reward tokens to harvest, and you'll see that in a minute. When we deploy this, it deploys the silo with 3.5S in it from our wallet. That then acts as a gas account for the silo to be able to actually operate. And again, we're setting it just on the default settings here, so we've got 100% of the rewards that we get will compound into the collateral token, which is S. So we're going to launch this now. And I'm just doing this in my wallet, confirming it now. So that's confirmed, and you can see the silo is now deployed. So we can click here to go to the silo, or if the silo is deployed and you're coming back to this, you go to My Silos when you're connected with your wallet, and you'll see the silo. Now the silo starts off as inactive because it's new. It hasn't had any funds put into it, so it's not actually started to do anything. So we can click the button here to deposit. We can then deposit our wrapped S. So I'm just going to deposit 100S. that's approved, and now I'm going to actually deposit the S into the silo. When this actually deposits, you'll see all of the numbers here jump around in this column. So you can see, yeah, so I deposited 100 S. That's currently worth $61.97. We've then borrowed 65% of the LTV. So we've borrowed $40. That's then minted into SCUSD rings, and then that SCUSD is then deposited into the SwapX liquidity pool, and we're instantly earning SwapX tokens. Now, I'm going to deploy a DCA swaps as well, just so I can show you this. So the DCA swaps allows us to deposit a reserve asset and then decide what token we want to purchase. So for the demonstration, we're going to use USDC deposits, and we're going to purchase GFI. And we're going to do this on an hourly basis. And we set here how much USDC we want to actually spend each hour. So, and then we decide what we're going to do with this when it's purchased. So we're going to launch. And again, I'm just confirming this in my wallet. And that's confirmed. So again, we can click on that. It takes us to the actual silo that's been deployed. And we can add some funds into this. So we're just going to deploy 20 USDC into this for now. We'll actually deposit that, so it's approved now. And this will instantly purchase the first lot of 10 GFI. So that's instantly purchased $10 worth of GFI, which then is sitting into the silo. Because I have this set to retain in silo, it would just keep it here. We could, if we wanted, I'm going to do this next, launch a different silo. So we're going to launch another DCA, and we're going to buy wrapped S. So we're spending, again, we're just going to do $10 worth of USDC, and we're going to do that on an automatic basis. And what automatic means is that it will spend, anytime it gets more than 10 USDC, it will spend all of the USDC that it receives on an automatic basis to purchase the reserve asset. And rather than keeping it in the silo, we're going to keep 50% of it in this silo. No, we're not. We're going to keep 20% in this silo. We're going to send some to an address, and we're going to pick, let me just get my owner address here, and we're going to launch, oh sorry, I need to change that, so this has to equal 100. So we're going to launch this. So this address here can be any address. So just for example, this could be a crypto debit card with Sonic Pay, for example. And yeah, okay, so actually let's do this. Let's go 40 and 40. So what we're going to change here, we're going to update the harvest parameters. So again, this just shows you that you've got a lot of control here. So we're going to do, this is going to spend anything more than $10 that it receives, and it's going to buy WS on an automatic basis. So any time this receives more than $10, it will spend all of it to buy WS, and we're going to retain 20% of the WS it buys in the silo. We're going to send 40% over to my owner address, and we're going to send the other 40% into my borrow to farm silo. That will then go into this balance here, which will then change the loan to value position and cause this to automatically rebalance. So essentially this will end up with more S, and it will borrow more USDC and automatically add it to the liquidity position. And actually, just to make sure that does actually work as expected, let's go 80%, so that we actually make sure that it goes over that current loan to value trigger. So we're going to deploy, we're going to update the parameters here first. And then we're going to deploy into here. I've only got $14 left, so we're going to deploy all of my $14. So we're approving that first. And now we're going to deposit that. And when we deposit that, this $14 will automatically be swapped into WS and then directed as per the purchase rules here. And actually you couldn't see on the Rabby wallet because it's unfortunately it's hidden on the UI here for you, but you can see there. Now if I go to the silo history for this silo, you can see the silo deposit. If I press the transaction here, we'll go over to the actual blockchain explorer, and we can see the net transactions that have happened here. So we can see that I deposited USDC, and the USDC was automatically swapped into Sonic token, S token, and then it was sent out to different addresses. And now if we go back to here, we go back to my silos, we can go into the borrowed farm silo. We can see here that it's in the reserve assets. So if I go into the advanced settings, we can see that we didn't receive enough, so we've got 19S, and the automatic investment is set to 20. So if we change this to 10, we always try to target roughly $10 worth of assets on the automatic schedule for the default settings. So we're changing this to 10, and we'll give it a couple of minutes, and this silo, not even a couple of minutes, instantly. So you can see instantly, as soon as that transaction confirmed on chain, the reserve assets were used, so that 19S was added to the balance of the collateral position on silo. More debt was borrowed immediately, and then immediately added to the Ichi Vault. So that's the parameters. Now the purchase parameters on the DCA silo that we used for S. These purchase parameters that we were able to change for retaining silo and send to another address, etc. They're similar to the borrow to farm parameters here, where we've got the option for the harvest, so similar to purchasing the harvest when this automatically runs. And again, it automatically runs based on having 20, but you can change this if you wanted to 10 or 1 or 0 point whatever. Then that will automatically harvest based on the amount there, or you can set it to a timed one. Now we've got the same options here, so we can compound, and we can decide how much we want to compound, or we can send to another address, or we can send to a silo. So say we wanted to compound half of the rewards into our collateral token, and we want to send some to an address, and then we want to send some to a silo. Now this other silo might not actually be able to use the SwapX token because it isn't programmed to use it. And the sending silo checks the status of the receiving silo and basically says, can this silo that I'm sending to actually use the S token, or the SwapX token, sorry. If it can, it will send the SwapX token. If it cannot, then it will automatically swap it into the wrapped S token, which all silos can receive and use, so that it knows that when it receives it into the receiving silo, it can actually be utilized. Now, if you're wanting to, say, top up a crypto debit card, like the Sonic Pay card, you could change this to 100% send to an address if the crypto debit card can accept the reward token. If this crypto debit card cannot accept the reward token, you would instead want to set it to send to a silo, set up a DCA silo that actually can swap or use the SwapX token, and then swap it into a token that your debit card can receive, for example, and then you could do that. So you would say your other silo will harvest when it receives 20 SwapX token rewards. You could then change this to anytime this receives more than 10, swap all of it on an automatic basis into USDC, and then send to, then this is where you would then send it to the address that you want to actually send it to your debit card, for example, in USDC, or if it accepts USDT or wrapped S or whatever, then you would select the correct token there. I think that pretty much covers kind of the basics. Gets you set up with a silo manager, deploying silos, understanding the way that the parameters can be changed. You can change the name anytime as well. So if you wanted something unique, and if you wanted to change, say, the rebalancing, so you want it to target a slightly lower, if you want to be a little bit more conservative, for example, when it gets to 65 or 50, it could rebalance. Or you could change the lower end to, say, 20 or 30 or something, so it doesn't rebalance as often if the price is going up. So there's lots of options there for the user sort of to decide on what they want. Realistically, most users will probably be best off just leaving everything on default. This is all tried and tested, but if the markets do move quickly or something like that, this is here to rebalance. But there are potentially points in time where the liquidity might not be deep enough, and there could be some impermanent loss and things like that. So something to bear in mind. If you want to be a little bit more conservative, you can adjust these so that it doesn't rebalance quite as often. It's got a slightly lower rebalance if the price of S is going down or something. But yeah, lots of options there. There's going to be lots of new strategies that get added over the next couple of months, and we're really looking forward to having everyone on here.